and that is actually right before lunch, I think. Fourth law, the law of polarity. That says that everything has two sides. And this is when we talk about duality. This is when we talk about the experience that our soul, which is non-dual, signed up to. It's signed up to have a dual experience where everything has two sides. And we can... This is actually an awesome thing to have in our minds at all times, because we will never be able to see something in its absolute. We can always just see one part of it. So we will never, ever, ever be absolutely right. And we will never know which part is the one that is wrong. So now I can just let go of all the ideas that I have, because somewhere in there is a part that is wrong, and I will not find out until I evolve, and then I'm like, oh, that was wrong. But then in this field, I don't know which part is right and which one is not until I evolve. Oh, that one was, and it's a constant evolution. So, but the more I cling to my ideas or thoughts or possessions or whatever, the less opportunity that I will have to advance in my evolution or my involution. I placed that image there because, and I don't have a coin, but let's use this as an example. If I show you this magnet, are you seeing it? Part of it, exactly. If I put it like this, you're seeing part of it. If I part of it doesn't matter. Part of it. We'll never be able to see the entire thing, even down to the atom. The atom will have sides, so we will never be able to appreciate a non-duality unless we go to our hearts. But that's a different dimension. We have to step away from the ego. We have to step away from the knowledge. So this law, I would say that it's best described by the second law of Maxwell, which says a vector of divergence times a vector of the magnetic field always equals 0, meaning that a magnet will always have two poles. It cannot exist a monopole. And we don't have to understand this to be good at what we do at the biomagnetic code. But I like to talk about this because there is a foundation behind it, right? And the more that we understand this, well, if we are a bit of left brain, if we like that kind of thing, but it's not necessary. But it is true that everything has two poles. And I would say that's the equation that describes that the best. Which actually, I forgot about this. So it means that the flux of a magnet in the center will always be the same what comes in as what goes out. Which means this pole will have lines of force that will eventually have to come in. So if I break this magnet in half, I don't end up with a north pole and a south pole. I end up with north and south and north and south, because they always have to have two poles. All the way down to the atom, actually even farther, all the way down to the electron, because even the electron has two poles. So we can keep on breaking it and breaking it and breaking it, and we have a magnet with two poles, always, which is the structure of the mind, because it's made of matter, and everything that has matter is dual, including my thoughts. That's why we judge. I judge that is left, that is right, because I have two poles. My heart will not do that. My heart says it's the same thing. You're just there or there, but it's really the same thing. All right. How will that affect our health? Well, the acidity of our bodies will depend on the polarity of the I meant to research how this is pronounced in English, but in Spanish they call it la matriz extracelular, the matrix around the cells. Is there a certain word for that, or I'll research it. But the thing around that matrix around the cell, according to the polarity of it, it will determine the pH of the cell. We don't have to worry about that. We'll talk about pH unbalances tomorrow. Fifth law.